So my name is Jennifer Gauchi-Terrace. I'm 57 and I'm a freelance journalist. Brandon was my youngest. I have two boys who were born on the same day, 2 years apart, February 28th. Brandon lived life to the fullest every day. He was always a carefree kid that just wanted to have a good time. He played hockey, played soccer, bicycled, he ran track and field. He was a pretty awesome kid. When he was 4, he was diagnosed with a low-grade glioma, podocytic astrocytoma, which is the most common type of childhood tumor. The first 4 years were sort of treat and control symptoms because they couldn't get a complete resection of the tumor. But then it got to a point that chemo wasn't working, so we went to Sick Kids in Toronto and he had a computer-guided surgery. Was actually declared tumor-free when he was 14. But then his graduating year from high school, he called me one lunch hour and he said, "Mom, something's going on." His brain was not connecting with his movements. If he wanted to, say, put his hands in his pocket, he knew what he wanted to do, but his movements were just not connecting with his brain. And he had an emergency scan and it showed, it wasn't even a mass, it was more like a gray cloud through his brain. So it had progressed to an anaplastic astrocytoma, which is a grade 3. It's very close to a glioblastoma. But the thing that bought us time, because the chemo didn't work again, was the radiation that he had at the cancer center here. And it gave us a full year. He was able to graduate and go to prom and do all the things that he had wanted to do and had worked so hard for. We had long talks about it. I mean, he was 18, he knew he was dying, he accepted it. Brain tumors are the leading cause of solid cancer death in children under 20 in Canada, and people don't realize that. It's pretty significant. Brandon and I worked very hard on establishing a national registry for all brain tumors in Canada. We held, 6 or 7 different, everything from rock for the registry to yard sales to pizza sales. The $70,000 that we raised went specifically to the Canadian Brain Tumor Registry. I had made Brandon a promise that once he passed away that I would keep pushing for this registry. And 10 years after we started our work, it came to fruition. I had just started working as a special content writer for Saltwire. And one of my first assignments was to write a story on the We Are fundraising campaign. So as I was interviewing the campaign chair, Sherry Porter, one thing that she said really stuck with me. She said that at some point, everyone in Nova Scotia and beyond would use the services of the QE2. And I thought, wow, that's a big statement. And then literally a couple of weeks later, I get sick and, it's the QE2 that I get referred to. And it was then that they discovered this cantaloupe-sized mass. I would have to have a full open hysterectomy. I've had a lot of healing to do physically and now chemotherapy, but I think emotionally for me is keeping myself in check and staying positive and surrounding yourself with, people that care and trust, and I think that's definitely my healthcare team. When I talk about the QE2 to other people, I often use the word safe, that I'm in the best of hands when I go for whether it's a clinic or my treatments in any department there. I feel safe, I feel looked after. So I knew from the beginning of this journey, as a writer, I felt I had something that I wanted to share of how amazing the QE2 is. Government money just isn't cutting it, so if we're going to have the extras and go the extra mile, then we need donations from the community. So part of the money through the We Are campaign is earmarked for a new cancer center, to be able to have the best doctors, the best equipment, the best technology, leading technology. Cancer is so predominant, how can we not make that a priority? And, the QE2 through their We Are campaign is going to make sure that that happens. I was once told early on in his illness that you start grieving the moment that they're diagnosed, and that's true. The promises I made to him is that I would go on to live life, the best that I could. He's always with me, and I know this is how he would want me to live.